What's good? What's good? What's good? Of course, I'm always gonna be the first one in the chat. Make some room. What's good, y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Oh, there we go. We got one. What's good? Islam family. Oh, we got 4. Went from 1 to 4 already. Hope everybody enjoying the Holy Sunday. It's a beautiful day today. Beautiful degree today. Out here. Y'all get us. See what I'm looking at. This is where I'm at right now. Just chilling. Just getting some good sunlight. I appreciate that, man. You know, you learn from me. I learn from Taj, Aline, Seer, various dudes from Sovereign Citizen Movement. What's his name? Dean Clifford. Yo, if there's ever any dude I'll reference to watch, Dean Clifford, man. If this man doesn't break down trust law, if y'all want to understand where I got the comprehension of how simple trust law is, go holla at Dean Clifford. Deanclifford. Now, once again, we all know we're not sovereign citizens, but business is always going to be business, no matter who's conducting it. The principles don't change. So, business is business. All right. So, Dean Clifford, holla at that man. Abdullah Talib Mosey Bey, Queen Valeria, Sister Zodiacus Eel. You know, I gotta thank the conscious community, Sonated TV. You know, when it had its good run, I was getting a lot of information. Of course, you know, looking past all the stupid, you know, going back and forth with the debates and stuff. But if you could look past that, you could grab a lot of information, even from people who are against, you know, Moors who are against Hebrew. It doesn't even matter, dude. Like, the information was out there. But you know, we all learn from somebody. That's pretty much is what I'm saying. Everybody learn from somebody. I didn't learn this by myself. I learned from somebody. Shit. You know what I'm saying? My grandpa raised my daddy. My great-grandpa raised my daddy's daddy. And my great-great-great-grandpa raised my daddy's daddy's daddy. So, you see where I'm going with this? It always comes down the line. So, but I want to continue on building on this book right here, Islam. On this book right here. Alright? John G. Jackson. I wanted to continue because, of course, this book is not heavy. Last time I did this video, we went about 15 pages deep. But I want to finish this out because this is some interesting, factual information. People would just not get in their feelings and just pay attention to the facts. Right? Don't get in your feelings. Pay attention to the facts. Eat the fish, spit out the bones. Y'all gonna read with me? And go right here. So I'm gonna start off. Alright, back, cool. Alright, so now, so y'all can see, just want y'all to get the visual, see for yourselves, because I'm about to read this out loud. That the earliest Egyptians were African Ethiopians. That was from the last video. I'm just continuing so we can continue the connection. So when we talk about ancient Egypt, we talk about Ethiopians. Okay? So now, that the earliest Egyptians were African Ethiopians, Nilotic Negroes, is obvious to all unbiased students of Oriental history. Breasted's claim that the early civilized inhabitants of the Nile Valley in Western Asia were members of a great white race is utterly false and is supported by no facts whatsoever. A similar racial bias is shown by Elliot Smith in his work, The Ancient Egyptians and Their Influence Upon the Civilization of Europe. So this is just letting you know that it's always a good idea to research the author of all books you read. You need to know who wrote the book, because it wasn't a spook god. It wasn't a mystery god. Somebody wrote it. A human being wrote it. Right? A man in flesh wrote it. So, check this. I'm going to go back some. You know what? I'm just going to continue, because this is very, very adamant right here. Check this out. Right? Upon the civilization of Europe, page 30, New York and London, 1911. Not a few writers, says he, like the traveler Volney in the 8th century, have expressed the belief that the ancient Egyptians were Negroes, or at any rate strongly Negroid. In recent times, even a writer so discriminating as Ripley usually has given his adhesion to this view. The writers referred to here are Count Volney, the French Orientalist, and turn to the next page. And Professor William Z. Ripley of Harvard University, an eminent American anthropologist. Professor Smith is convinced that these men are wrong because he holds that there is a profound gap that separates the Negro from the rest of mankind, including the Egyptian. Whoa, hold up, stop. Yo, the rest of the world knows how ill you are, son. You need to stop acknowledging everything outside yourself. I'm not saying that our cousins are not our cousins. I'm not saying we don't got cousins in every other country on this planet, in every other continent on this planet. We probably got cousins in other planets that we don't know about. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we need to start digging ourselves. You know, you ever got that saying like, I'm feeling myself? Yeah, y'all remember that, man? I'm an 80s baby, so I remember back in the day, not too long back in the day, I'm only 31, but, back in the day, when I was in my Negro black colored days, going to the club and shit like that, I needed to knock back a few shots of 151 before we hit the road. And you know what I'm saying? You get dressed, throw on your nice little shit, cut, haircut, fresh, clean, and then just go in the mirror like, feeling myself. Feeling myself. I used to do that. So I don't know about y'all, but thank you, Mansa. Still to this day, tell myself in the mirror, you a sexy bitch. I could talk to myself like that because I'm not offensive to myself, all right? But, you got to be feeling yourself, man, because the rest of the world's feeling you. God damn. Let me reread this statement again. God damn, man. God damn. Everybody wants to sit here, right? No disrespect to our cousins, but we sit here all day and we'll talk about Africa, Asia Minor over there, out east, Mesopotamia, ancient Kemet, this, that. Look at what these authors are telling you. Look, archaeologists, professors from Harvard University. Look at what they saying. According to Professor Smith, he's convinced that these men are wrong because he holds there is a profound gap that separates the Negro from the rest of mankind, including the Egyptians. There is a huge gap that separates the Negro from the rest of mankind, including the Egyptians. So what that's letting you know that even the Egyptians over there's still a separation. They're our cousins, yo. Is your cousin you? You have cousins, right? Is your cousin you? Or is your cousin just your cousin. That means you still are you. Your cousin is your cousin. What they do is their business. What you do is your business. Y'all still blood though. Like, do y'all get what I'm saying? So those are our cousins. Doesn't mean we gotta become completely, sucked into what our cousins are doing. Because our cousins have their shit. We have our shit. The same way if I was to go to Africa, my cousins should be able to show me all types of ill shit over on the continent. Because that's their homeland. And you know what should happen when my cousins come over here to visit me? I should be able to show them all the shit in my homeland. You understand? This is how this works. You should be able to show them, oh, yo, this is my homeland, cousin. Welcome. Let me show you. Yeah, I could take you to some nice places, some beautiful views. You want to go buy some water? Sure. Alright? But if you take me and were to, let's say, deport me to Africa, because I'm a African American, nigga, I wouldn't know where the fuck is what in Africa. I would have to learn how the laws of that land operate, right? I ain't just gonna know there like, oh, I know where everything is at. Nah, this is not my home country. So you know what I would be in Africa? As fucked up as it sounds, I'd be an immigrant. You comprehend what I'm saying? I'd be an immigrant in Africa. Because I'm not African, I'm American. It's not that it's wrong to be African American. It's that you can't have your cake and eat it too, boo-boo. You gotta pick one. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve two masters. You gonna serve yourself and your cousin? And then you expect your cousin to serve you and themselves? Nah, G. You can only serve one master. You see, this is why when our cousins come through, they come here, they thinking about their family back home. They think about self-preservation. Self-preservation. They still are cousins though, but they gotta worry about self-preservations. Are you gonna put food in their baby's mouth? No. You gonna pay their bills? No. So they gotta handle their own shit. The same way you gotta handle your own shit. And that's just the way the world goes. So if you don't know where you at, then you likely to be someone else's food. But, and like I'm saying, you should know more about your homeland, man. We worry a little bit too much about Africa. Africa got their own shit going on. They doing their thing. What are we doing over here? We know what the Africans is doing over there. What are the Americans doing over here? We always want to be all up in other niggas Kool-Aid and shit. No, we ain't even got a damn powder made, or we ain't got no type of concoction made to put together to make our own Kool-Aid. We just looking at other people make their own Kool-Aid and then trying to judge them on how they making their Kool-Aid. But you ain't got no Kool-Aid dough and you thirsty. Crazy. So, let's continue here. Now I'm gonna just read. Okay. No people has bequeathed to us so many memorials of its form, complexion, and physiognomy. I'm just going to assume the G silent. Physiognomy. As the Egyptians. If we were left to form an opinion on a subject by the description of the Egyptians left by the Greek writers, we should conclude that they were, if not Negroes, at least closely akin to the Negro race. That they were much darker in coloring than the neighboring Asiatics. That they had hair frizzled either by nature or art. Either had hair frizzled by nature or art. Either had hair frizzled by nature or art. That their lips were thick and projecting, and their limbs slender, rest upon the authority of eyewitnesses who had traveled in the country, and who could have had no motive to deceive. The fullness of the lips seen in the Sphinx of the pyramids and in the portraits of the kings is characteristic of the Negro. So you know what I'm saying? Essentially what it is, you know what I mean? It's about time you start feeling yourself, you know what I'm saying? Big lips, big lip gang. Where my big lip gang at? You start feeling yourself. Big luscious lips, yeah, man. Yeah. That's an indigenous thing. Feel yourself. Feel yourself. Gentlemen and ladies, man, feel yourself. Shit. You can't say men and women don't like thick, luscious lips. I'm pretty sure women like thick, luscious lips for a dude. Shit. I like thick, luscious lips on my woman, so goddamn. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it 100. So this is our trademark, is what I'm trying to say. The world knows us by two things. When they can't see us in physical, like, if you can't look at me right now, you can automatically tell I'm Asiatic. But if you're looking at carvings and stuff like that, and paintings in black and white, the only way to decipher is by the characteristics of the features. Okay, so our trademark feature is big nose, thick lips. Big nose, thick lips. Big nose, thick lips. It's not complicated. It's real simple. Big nose, thick lips, frizzled hair. Okay? So, now this is from a book called The Ancient History of the East. Here's the reference. Page 25 to 26. London, 1881. We read of Memnon, king of Ethiopia. In Greek mythology, to be exact, in Homer's Iliad, where he leads an army of Elamites and Ethiopians to the assistance of King Priam in the Trojan War. His expedition is said to have started from the African Ethiopia and to have passed through Egypt on the way to Troy. Hey, yo, y'all remember Troy, right? Wasn't that with Brad Pitt? That movie was ill, right? That movie was about you, yo. Anyway, according to Herodotus, Memnon was the founder of Susa, the chief city of the Elamites. These were places called Memnonia, asserts Professor Rawlinson, supposed to have been built by him both in Egypt and at Susa. And there was a tribe called Memnons at Meroc. There was a tribe called Memnons at Meroc. Memnon thus unites the eastern with the western Ethiopians, and the less we regard him as an historical personage, the more must we view him as personifying the ethnic identity of the two races. So pretty much what they're saying is, if you have a look at King so simple, guys. It's so simple. So if you look at the Memnons, right, the tribe called Memnons, Memnones, Memnones at Meroc, you will see that they are one and the same when you're talking about ethnic identity. Big shocker. This is where I like this part right here. Let's go. Now, ancient monarchies. So this is right here. It's from Ancient Monarchies. This is why I like John G. Jackson, because in his book, which is a source, he puts sources. Get your game up. Ancient Monarchies, Volume 1, Chapter 30. Oh, Chapter 3. Excuse me. I'm trying to read this while I'm looking through the phone. The ancient peoples of Mesopotamia are... Now, before I read this, like I said, man, for some reason we got a lot of American scholars over here that love talking about Africa, but they don't really talk too much about America. Mesopotamia. How many of our American scholars talk about Mesopotamia? All day, every day. Mesopotamia this, Mesopotamia that. All right, let's look at the ancient peoples of Mesopotamia. The ancient peoples of Mesopotamia, sometimes called the Chaldeans, but this is inaccurate and confusing. Before the Chaldean rule in Mesopotamia, there were the empires of the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. The earliest civilization of Mesopotamia was that of the Sumerians. They are designated in the Assyrio-Babylonian inscriptions as the blackheads or black-faced people. And they are shown on the monuments as beardless and with shaven heads. So that means clean cut. Bald head, bald face. Bald head, bald face. Remember that? Ancient peoples of Mesopotamia, bald head, bald face. So what's the pattern you don't find with other people and other races? Hair, frizzy, locks, clean shaven? No. We let our shit grow. We're gonna keep reading though. I'm showing you the difference between us and our cousins. They're slight differences. But like I said, your brother's your brother and your cousin's your cousin. Now, here we go. This easily distinguishes them from the Semitic Babylonians. Even though the Babylonians were both so-called black people, they called us Semitic accordingly because what? We had beards and shit. We weren't bald head and clean shaved. All right? There are some of us melanated brothers today who prefer that look. Bald head, clean shaven. It looks good on certain people, not all. But that can also let you know what DNA is speaking to that individual. Okay? Sumerian. Now, this easily distinguishes them from the Semitic Babylonians, who are shown with beards and long hair. From the myths and traditions of the Babylonians, we learn that their culture came originally from the south. Sir Henry Rawlinson concluded from this and other evidence that the first civilized inhabitants of Sumer and Akkad were immigrants from African Ethiopia. Say what? Now, here go that term immigrant again. So, we know an immigrant is what? Someone who is not in their homeland. So, immigrant, someone who is in a foreign country. Someone who's coming in to reside in a foreign country, possibly permanently. So the first civilized inhabitants of Sumer and Akkad were immigrants from the African Ethiopia. John D. Baldwin, the American Orientalist, on the other hand, claims that since ancient Arabia was also known as Ethiopia, they could have just as well come from that country. These theories are rejected by Dr. II R. Hall of the Department of Egyptian and Assyrian Antiquities of the British Museum, who contends that Mesopotamia was civilized by a migration from India. The ethnic type of the Sumerians, so strongly marked in their statues and reliefs, says Dr. Hall, was as different from those of the races which surrounded them was their language from those of the Semites, Aryans, or others. They were decidedly Indian in type. The face type of the average Indian of today is no doubt much the same as that of his Dravidian race ancestor thousands of years ago. And it is to this Dravidian ethnic type of India that the ancient Sumerian bears most resemblance, so far as we can judge from his monuments. And it is by no means improbable that the Sumerians were an Indian race Do I even need to say anything? Do I even need to say anything? I just want y'all to know I'm bawling out laughing at myself right now. It's hilarious. 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 Let me see if I can find my space right now. Oh, and if you're not familiar with the term Dravidian, Dravidian is the original Moors of of that place we call India. The original peoples there are known as the Dravidians. Alright? So, being that the Dravidians, I'm trying to find where I was at. The face type of the average Indian of today is no doubt much the same as that of his Dravidian race ancestors thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. And it is to this Dravidian ethnic type of India that the ancient Sumerian bears most resemblance, so far as we can judge from his monuments, and it is by no means Improbable that the Sumerians were an Indian race which passed certainly by land, perhaps also by sea, through Persia to the valley of the two rivers. It was in the Indian home, perhaps the Indus Valley, that we suppose for them that their culture developed. On the way, they left the seeds of their culture in Elam. There is little doubt that India must, let's continue. No little doubt that India must have been one of the earliest centers of human civilization, and it seems natural to suppose that the strange, un-Semitic, un-Aryan people who came from the east to civilize the west were of Indian origin, especially when we see with our own eyes how very Indian the Sumerians were in type. Fun. Now, we're going to get into some Masonic truth right now. See, you can find a lot of Masonic jewels in books. Niggas go to become Masons and then they pay thousands of dollars a year to they pay for this. Masons pay for this. I'm just sitting down in front of the good son reading for free. People pay thousands of dollars to know information like this. Why? But who's me? Just study yourself. It's free. Check this. Now, in the Ancient History of the Near East, page 173, 174, London 916, Hall is opposed in his theory of Sumerian origins by Dr. W.J. Perry, the great anthropologist of the University of London. The Sumerian stories of origins themselves tell a very different tale. Terry points out, for from their beginnings, the Sumerians seem to have been in touch with Egypt. Some of their early texts mention Dilmun, Magan, and Mel-Uda. Dilmun was the first settlement that was made by the god Enki, who was the founder of Sumerian civilization. Magan was famous among the Sumerians as a place whence they got diorite and copper. Meluha as a place whence they got gold. Dilmun has been identified with some place or other in the Persian Gulf, perhaps the Bahrain Islands, perhaps a land on the eastern shore of the Gulf. In a late inscription of the Assyrians, it is said that Magan and Mal-Uda were the, you can right here. In late inscription of the Assyrians, it is said that Magan and Mal-Uda were the archaic names for Egypt and Ethiopia, the latter being southwestern part of Arabia and the part of Somalia land that lay opposite. So that would be Mel-Uda. Mel-Uda, which would be Ethiopia. You already know Ethiopia used to be Arabia and all that. So now there you go. So see? Now you get to crack the shell. Peel it one layer back. Ethiopians? Nah. I'm from Ethiopia? Nope. Mel-Uda. And Egypt was known as Magan or Megan. M-A-G-A-N. Hey, Megan. Just little jewels to know. So, let's see here. I think here we go. This is also important to note too, right? So check this. We cannot devote much space to the early inhabitants of India, though they were beyond all doubt an Ethiopic ethnic type. They are described by Professor Lynn Thorndike as short black men with almost Negro noses. In the Short History of Civilization, page 227, Dr. Will Durant pictures these early Hindus as a dark-skinned, broad-nosed people whom, without knowing the origin of the word, we call Dravidians. Okay? Now, Story of Civilization, Part 1, page 396. The student is advised to consult page 659 to 666 of the new edition of Sir John A. Hamerton's Wonders of the Past, in which there is an instructive article with fine illustrations by S.G. Blaxland Stubbs entitled Wonder Cities of Most Ancient India. That Mr. Stubbs is a candid writer may be seen from the following excerpt. The early Aryan literature of India, the hymns of the Rig Veda, which it is commonly agreed date from about 1000 BC, speak of the people whom the proud Aryan invaders found in India as black-skinned barbarians, dasas, or slaves. But Aryan pride of race has received something of a shock from archaeological investigations carried out by Sir John Marshall and more recently by Dr. E. Mackay in the Valley of the Indus. Here, ample evidence has been found of a race whose complex civilization and high culture were equal and in some respects superior to those of early Mesopotamia and Egypt. These Asiatic black men were not confined to the mainland, for we are informed by no less an authority than Sir Harry H. Johnson that in former times this, next page, in former times this Asiatic Negro spread. We can scarcely explain how, unless the land connections of those days were more extended, through eastern Australia to Tasmania, and from the Solomon Island to New Caledonia, and even New Zealand to Fiji and Hawaii. The Negroid element in Burma and Annan is therefore easily to be explained by supporting that in ancient times, Southern Asia had a Negro population ranging from the Persian Gulf to Indochina and the Malay Archipelago. See an Introduction to African Civilizations by Willis N. Huggins. Most readers of history know about the Celts, ancient inhabitants of Europe, whose priests were known as the Druids. It is generally thought that these Celts were called Caucasoids. But Sir Godfrey Higgins, after much study, came to the conclusion that they were a Negroid people. We talking about Europe now, y'all. The Druids? In my essay on the Celtic Druids, I have shown that a great nation called Celtae, of whom the Druids were the priests, spread themselves among over the whole earth and are to be traced in their rude, gigantic monuments from India to the extremity of Britain. The religion of Buddha of India is well known to have been very ancient. Very ancient. Higgins is here referring to the first Buddha, who is supposed to have lived between 5,000 and 6,000 years ago, and not to Gautama Buddha, who lived about 600 years BC. There were at least 10 Buddhas mentioned in the sacred books of India. Who these can have been, but the early individuals of the black nation of whom we have been treating, I know not, and in this opinion I am not singular. The learned Maurice says Cushites, i.e. Celts. What? Cushites, i.e. Celts? You see how there's really no need for all the different names. We're still talking about the same people. I'm talking about Dravidians in one, which is the original black people of India. Then we're talking about the Druids, which is the original priests or the black people of Europe. And now we're talking about Cushites, who we're referring to as the Celts, which is once again the original black peoples of Europe. So don't let the names fool you. We may go by many names, but we're still the same people. Cushites, i.e. Celts, built the great temples in India and Britain and excavated the caves of the former, and the learned mathematician Reuben Burrow has no hesitation in pronouncing Stonehenge to be a temple of the black curly-headed Buddha. Oh, y'all didn't know that, huh? Y'all didn't know Stonehenge in Europe was the temple of the black curly-headed Buddha? Come on now. Come on now. Though it is generally believed that Columbus discovered America, it is now definitely known to students of American archaeology that Columbus came late. Oh man, Columbus came late, y'all. That's funny. That's so funny. Columbus came late. He came late, y'all. Whoa. So, um, Professor Leo Weiner has written a 3-volume work, Africa and the Discovery of America, in which he argues that the New World was discovered by Africans long before the time of Columbus. Professor Weiner has led to this conclusion partly from the following evidence. 1. African words in American Indian languages. That's the first bit. African words in American Indian languages. Number 2. Vases and pipe bowls found in the ruins of the mound builders, showing Negro faces on their surfaces. Number 2 evidence. So number 1, we have African words in American Indian languages, which American Indian is a misnomer. We should say African words in Moorish languages, right? Or how about this? Let's kill that whole divide and conquer shit. How about we just say Moorish words in Moorish languages? I like that. This day forth, I am no longer separating shit. Moorish words in Moorish languages. Because if y'all ain't get the memo by now that we Moors, whatever. Whatever. Now, so African words in American Indian languages, vases and pipe bowls found in the ruins of the mound builders, showing Negro faces on their surfaces. And the presence of African foods in America, such as the peanut and the yam. 4. The totemic organization of the Amerindian tribes, very similar to African totemism. Totemism is a sort of primitive theory of evolution. For instance, certain tribes are divided into clans, and each clan is, as a rule, named after some species of animal. Let us suppose a tribe is divided into 4 clans, bearing the following names. Tribe 1 is called Eagle, Tribe 2 is Bear, Tribe 3 is Crow, and Tribe 4 is Wolf. A member of the Bear clan will consider himself as descended from bears. A member of the Wolf clan will tell you that he is a wolf and that all of his ancestors were wolves, and so on. This clan ancestor being known as the totem. There are numerous definitions of totemism, the best I have come across being the following one by Professor A.C. Haddon. Totemism, as Dr. Fraser and I understand it, in its fully developed condition, implies the division of a people into several totem kins, or as they are usually termed, totem clans, each of which has one or sometimes more than one totem. The totem is usually a species of animal, sometimes a species of plant, occasionally a natural object or phenomenon. Very rarely a manufactured article. The totems are regarded as kinsfolk or protectors of the kinsmen, who respect them and refrain from killing and eating them. There is thus a recognition of mutual rights and obligations between the members of the kin and their totem. The totem is the crest or symbol of the kin. We see vestiges of totemism in our political organizations. For example, the Democratic donkey and the Republican elephant. Baseball clubs present an even better example of totemism. Atavism, for instance, who has not heard of baseball teams bearing such names as Tigers, Cardinals, Bears, Bees, Bisons? Weiner's theories have not been kindly received by his colleagues. Okay? So pretty much, just to wrap on that, if you ain't know really what, when we come across our lands and we see totems, we see big totems with different ancestral faces, that's representing the family crest. So whenever you see a totem from now on, just know you're looking at a family crest. You're looking at an indigenous family crest. Don't get it twisted if it's being occupied now by people who don't look like you. Don't get it twisted. You're looking at your family crest or a family crest of that particular clan. Okay? Totems. So what are we? What are we? What clan are we? I want somebody to answer that in the chat. What clan are we? If we were to classify ourselves as a clan, what's the name of our clan? Nobody got a clan name? Clan name, clan name. Bang, bang. Thank you very much. Clan name is Moorish American. Ah, Islam. Islam, brother Kadeem. Hey, shout outs to the Ta Al Amaruk tribe in Tennessee. Moors, you know what I'm saying? Treatying, working with them, trying to help each other. So shout out to you, King. Appreciate you. But yeah, the clan is Moor. And then the clan is broken up into tribes. Okay? We got different tribes. I'm from the Shiraga tribe. Y'all know that today is Port-au-Prince. You know what I'm saying? Still from the Moorish clan, though. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit more reading. I don't want to spend too much time in this book here. Although it's straight facts, we can talk about some other things. Check this. Now, Professor Weiner, right here. Professor Weiner solves the riddle of the old American civilizations with an Tashidi clan in the building already. Professor Weiner solved the riddle of old American civilizations with an Arabico-Mandingo lexicon. What the fuck? What? Arabico? Hold on. So Professor Weiner solves the riddle of old American civilizations with an Arabico-Mandingo lexicon and derives everything of importance in the New World from the highly civilized coasts of Gambia and Sierra Leone. So if you're trying to break the riddle of old American civilizations, why are you using an Arabic/Mandinga lexicon? Is this Arabia? Why are we using Arabic lexicon to break the riddle of old American civilizations? What that got to do with Arabs? I wonder. From brightest Africa came the principal American food plants, the Mayan calendar, and the Mexican religion. It may be added that Professor Weiner swarms his Negroes across the Atlantic in no less than 50 voyages before Columbus. The Indian was not the original American. Oh, man. How different the world would be if people would just pick up a book. So the original or the Indian was not the original American. Professor Ailes Herdlicka of the Smithsonian Institution, an authority on the Amarants, contends that the ancestors of the Indians, so hold on, let's go back. The Indian was not the original American. Boom. So what happened when you claiming to be Indian? You claiming not to be the original American. Don't claim to be Indian. Indians are not the original American. We about to learn where the Indians come from. We about to learn. Because their real title ain't Indian. We about to learn what their real title is. Professor Ailes Herdlicka of the Smithsonian Institution, an authority on the Amarants, contends that the ancestors of the Indians came from Asia via the Bering Strait 10,000 years ago. American civilization is older than that. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The ancestors of the Indians came from Asia via the Bering Strait 10,000 years ago. American civilization is older than 10,000 years. Can y'all, you know what I'm saying? Can y'all see that? So the people we speak of today that they're so-called calling Indians, they are not here. They are not Americans. They crossed, their ancestors came over the Bering Strait 10,000 years ago. How old is our civilization over here? Is it older than 10,000 years? I think so. The ruins of Tiahuanaco in Bolivia. Oh yeah, Bolivia is a country in America, if y'all didn't know. The ruins of Tiahuanaco in Bolivia, according to Dr. Rudolf Muller, a noted German astronomer, are between 10,000 and 14,000 years old. The remains of this ancient city show that it was inhabited by a highly civilized people. Now, see an article entitled "The Oldest City in the World" by A.H. Verrill in the New York Herald Tribune magazine, July 31st, 1932. Excavations in Mexico have produced equally startling results. Dr. Maximus Neumeyer, a distinguished Brazilian archaeologist, in cooperation with a group of Mexican archaeologists, has made a very thorough study of the pyramids and monuments in the vicinity of Mexico City. He estimates the monument of Cuiculco, and you see, so you can spell that monument out and look it up online. Cuiculco. Start feeling yourself again. Check out your shit. To be about 13,000 years old. An interesting feature of this structure is that it resembles the Assyrio-Babylonian type of architecture, bearing a striking resemblance to the Tower of Babel, as it has been restored by the Assyriologists. Say what now? They found something that has a striking resemblance. It bears a striking resemblance to the Tower of Babel. Where was it found? In the monument of Cuiculco. Where? Mexico City. So, you see how you can start tying things from the Bible? So now we're talking about Babylon, Tower of Babel. Cuiculco. Sounds like it's a place made for me. Cuiculco. I like that. I'm gonna go visit that spot. Cuiculco. It's an ancient site in Mexico City. It bears resemblance to the Tower of Babel. Its features resemble that of Assyrio-Babylonian type. So now we don't gotta wonder, where is Babylon? Where is Babylon? It was in Mexico, wasn't it? It wasn't over there in Africa. It was right here in America, y'all. Yeah, Tower of Babel right here. Let me put this back on the book. Yo, this is nuts, man. Let's go. I'll put it right here. So I'm gonna start right here. Okay. No, I'm gonna start right here at the bottom. Right here from See Article. See an article entitled "The Oldest City in the World." The oldest city in the world. That's the name of the article. The oldest. This is the book. Literally, I bought this in a bookstore for $5. Look at the wealth of information for 5 notes. The wealth of information for 5 notes. Tell you, man. Learn how to invest your money. Because these are things you can't these jewels right here are things money. You can't put a price. There you go. Got off eBay for 10 beans. Bang bang. You know what I'm saying? You can't put a price on this wealth, yo. You can't. This is wealth right here. So check this. Okay? The oldest city in the world. Right? So this was published by A.H. Verrill in the New York Herald Tribune magazine, July 31st, 1932. Okay? 1932. Yes, Islam, brother. No worries. See here. Excavations in Mexico have produced equally startling results. Startling results? What type of startling results? Dr. Maximus Neumeyer, a distinguished Brazilian archaeologist, see, because we got to get into archaeology, yo, in cooperation with a group of Mexican archaeologists, has made a very thorough study of the pyramids and monuments in the vicinity of Mexico City. He estimates the monument Cuculco to be about 13,000 years old. An interesting feature of this structure, a very interesting feature, is that it resembles the Assyrio-Babylonian type of architecture, bearing a striking resemblance to the Tower of Babel, as it has been restored by the Assyriologists. So there you go. Babylon, Tower of Babel, right here in America. Specifically, monument known as Cuculco in Mexico City. Alright, stop looking in Africa for your shit. Stop looking in Africa for your shit. Stop looking in Africa for your shit. Your shit is in America, player. So, that being said, let me see. Check this. Let's keep reading, man. This is Jules right here, right? We giving Jules right now. Dr. Neumeyer also examined the pyramids of Teotihuacan, which he estimates to be 4,500 years of age. He thinks that these pyramids were built by a people akin to the Egyptians, and from their arrangement suggests that they form a sort of model of the solar system, with a pedestal in the center representing the sun. We must also mention the discoveries of Professor Ramon Mena, curator of the Department of Archaeology of the Mexican government. See, Mexico doing research in their shit. For everyone telling Mexicans so-called that they aliens, that, they foreigners to their land. They make sure they know they shit. That's why they looking at you sideways. Like, okay, I'm alien? Yup, I know I am. You don't. You think you're a U.S. citizen. Stupid. Anyway. And from their arrangements suggest that they form a sort of model of the solar system. I did all that already. This scientist explored the ruins of the great city of Palenque. The great city of Palenque. Palenque. Look them up, man. Check out your shit. And concluded that the ancient metropolis was built over 10,000 years ago. Ain't that the same time that the so-called Indians' ancestors crossed over the Bering Strait? Wasn't that 10,000 years ago? Okay. So, he also found that the inhabitants of the city were familiar with the manufacture and use of stucco. The celebrated French archaeologist Desiree Charnay unearthed statues around Mexico City more than 50 years ago, with faces showing Negroid features. Pictures of some of them may be seen in Ignatius Donnelly's Atlantis, page 174 to 175. Donnelly also has illustrations of two similar statues, one from Palenque and the other from Veracruz, finding that the Indians show both Mongoloid and Negroid ethnic traces. Charnay justly concluded that the Amerinds were a mixed race of both Asiatic and African ancestry. And that is what we call so-called Indians today. They are a mixture of Mongoloids and we're going to say Ethiopians to be correct, because we are Ethiopians. All right, so the so-called Indians we have today are a mixture of Mongoloids, because they came from Mongolia. They crossed over the Bering Strait, okay, and they mixed over with the indigenous peoples here, which was us, the so-called Negroids. And so that's what we got today. Okay, just facts, man. Just facts. Just the facts. So Um, Here we go. We have, now this is from the ancient cities of the New World. We have perfectly reliable proof of the presence of men of the Ethiopian race in pre-Columbian America. We have perfectly reliable proof of the presence of men of the Ethiopian race in pre-Columbian America. Father Roman, one of the first Catholic missionaries to arrive in the New World, records that a tribe of black men came from the south and landed in Haiti, and that they were armed with darts and gonine, a composition of gold, silver, and copper. That's what their darts were made out of. Yo, I love my culture, son. My culture's fire, yo. Could you imagine that? You have darts made out of gold, silver, and copper. That's what the fuck we was rocking out with. Shit, man. Okay. So, now, remember I told you, right? I come from the Chirago province, right? Remember I said my mother is Haitian, my father's Haitian. Chirago province is what you would call Port-au-Prince today. They just said, look, we have perfect, reliable proof of the presence of men of the Ethiopian race in pre-Columbian America. Father Roman, one of the first Catholic missionaries to arrive in the New World, records that a tribe of black men came from the south and landed in Haiti. A group of what? Ethiopian men? If I was in Ethiopia and I said I was Ethiopian, you wouldn't tell the difference. You wouldn't even question it. Hell, if I said I'm Ethiopian right now, you wouldn't question it. But they landed in Haiti, though, right? So is there a difference between me and Ethiopians? No. Okay. We're tearing down the walls of separation, y'all. That's what we're doing right now. We're tearing down the walls of separation. Now, I want y'all to see this too, right? Man, no, not by being told. Okay? Records that a tribe landed in Haiti and that they were armed with darts of gonine, a composition of gold, silver, and copper, and were known as the Black Guninis. These might have been the Negroes of Cariqua, mentioned by Peter Martyr, the Angelira, or some other American Negro nation. What Ethiopians doing in Haiti, y'all? Seriously, what are Ethiopian people doing in Haiti? You got to be kidding me. Like, seriously? Asserts Deroux, the like of which there were many, as we may see in Raffink's account of the ancient black nations of America. Here's another source for you. Okay? There you go. Ancient black nations of America. Such are the Caros of Brazil, Islam, the Black Caribbees of St. Vincent in the Gulf of Mexico, the Yamasee of Florida, or what you would call the Yamasee. You see? The Yamasee or the Yamasee. The Yamasee of Florida, the dark complexion Californians, who are perhaps the dark men mentioned in the Quiche traditions, and by some old Spanish adventurers. Such again is the tribe of which Balboa saw some representatives in his passage of the Isthmus of Darien in the year 1513. It would seem from the expressions made use of the Gomara that these were Negroes. These were Negroes, y'all. History of America Before Columbus, page 306 to 307 by P.D.C. Roux, Philadelphia and London, 1900. Spanish and Portuguese explorers found colonies of black men on the eastern coast of South and Central America and in Yucatan and Nicaragua. I'm going to read that one more time, y'all. Spanish and Portuguese explorers found colonies of black men on the eastern coast of South and Central America and in Yucatan and Nicaragua. Deroux quotes John T. Short, author of the North Americans of Antiquity. New York, 1880, on the similarity of African and American languages as follows. It is worthy of note that several eminent scholars have observed the remarkable similarity of grammatical structure between the Central American and certain transatlantic languages, especially the Basque and some of the languages of Western Africa. Now here we go. History of America before Columbus, pages 164 to 165. Most of us are familiar with the Mayan civilization of Yucatan in Central America. Since American archaeologists have devoted many years of intensive research to these territories, among the speculations concerning the origin of this culture, those of Laplongian and Raquina are the most valuable. Professor Rafael Raquina, a Venezuelan archaeologist, American, holds that there was once an island in the Atlantic Ocean of continental dimensions, known to the ancients as Atlantis. That this island was settled by Egyptians, who in turn, Egyptians being Ethiopians, who in turn established colonies in America before the submergence of Atlantis. The findings of Professor Augustus Laplongian are of great interest. This Franco-American archaeologist discovered the ruins of a palace in Chichen Itza in 1874. He found in this structure, known as Prince Cole's Palace, pictographs and inscriptions which was able to decipher. The story as unraveled by Laplongian may be read by the student in Queen Mu and the Egyptian Sphinx. Sources, y'all, where the professor gives his interpretation of the inscriptions and reproductions of the pictographs. Miss Laplongian's work, Queen Mu's Talisman, might also be consulted. The story runs roughly as follows. About 11,000 years ago, two brothers, princes of Yucatan, sought the hand of the ruling monarch of the land, Queen Mu, in marriage. The brothers were named Ko and Ak, COH and AAC, respectively. I don't know why, but when I see Ko and Ak, I think of like Cain and Abel. Respectively, Prince Ko was the successful suitor, which so enraged Prince Ak that he stabbed his brother through the heart. Yeah, it's funny how I said this. This feels like Cain and Abel, and already he's stabbing his brother in the heart. Yo. All right. So, and they were fighting over a woman, right? Queen Mu. The brothers were named Ko and Ak, respectively. Prince Ko was a successful suitor, which so enraged Prince Ak that he stabbed his brother through the heart with a stone knife, which, needless to say, caused his death. Then Ak attempted to force Queen Mu to wed him. The queen, rather than submit, decided to flee to Atlantis. On reaching the coast, she learned that great earthquakes had submerged Atlantis beneath the sea, so she sailed for Africa instead and ended her journey in Egypt. There she was hailed as queen and erected the Sphinx as a memorial to her slain husband. The foregoing story sounds like a fable, but there is probably a core of fact in it. If the Sphinx, with its Ethiopian face, is a memorial to an ancient Mayan prince, it shows that the Mayas were originally of African origin. Okay? Just so you get some storyline behind that. We're almost done with this. Hold on. Now, here we go. That Atlantis was connected with the history of ancient Ethiopia can be little doubt. The Greek philosopher Proclus stated in his works that he could present evidence that Atlantis at one time actually existed. He cited as his authority the Ethiopian history of Marcellus. In referring to Ethiopian history to prove the existence of Atlantis, Proclus plainly infers that Atlantis was a part of Ethiopia. I repeat, Atlantis was a part of Ethiopia. Although there is scientific evidence that an island of continental dimensions once existed in what is now the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, many students of the problem of Atlantis have located it in other parts of the globe, particularly in Central America and Africa. Count de Porok says that Atlantis in the dimness of antiquity covered the region now occupied by the Sahara Desert. Kirkmeyer placed it in South Africa and Frobenius in West Africa. In reviewing James Bramwell's Lost Atlantis, Mr. Louis Gannett states that the German anthropologist Frobenius definitely locates it in Nigeria, whose ancient civilization he relates to that of the Etruscans and the Syrians. Dr. Frobenius found ruins of palaces, terracotta fragments, and beautiful statuary in Jerusalem, a district in Nigeria between the Niger River and the Atlantic Ocean. And he heard among the Jerubians legends of an ancient royal city and its palace with walls of gold, which in the long ago had sunk beneath the waves. The German scholar Eugene George is a keen student of the Atlantis question, and the following remarks of his are worthy of our attention. The new age that began after the disappearance of Atlantis was marked at first by the worldwide dominance of Ethiopian representatives of the black race. They were supreme in Africa and Asia, and they even infiltrated through southern Europe. During the present era, that is the last 10,000 years, the white race has come to possess the world. According to the occult tradition, Semitic peoples developed wherever the immigrating white colonists from the north were subjugated by the black ruling classes. The intermixture occurred as in oldest Egypt, Chaldea, Arabia, and Phoenicia, which is why they look how they look today. When you go to these countries, they don't look like the original peoples there. Okay? They look like a mix. So far, we have given little or no attention to the evidence of comparative religion. The study of an ancient religious history is important, for religion, like philosophy, changes but slowly. Institutional religion, being conservative and static in its outlook, has preserved much ancient lore that would have otherwise been lost to the modern student. The Greek philosopher Xenophanes pointed out a profound truth when he observed that the gods men worship very closely resembled the worshippers. I'm going to say that one more time. The Greek philosopher Xenophanes pointed out a profound truth when he observed that the gods men worship very closely resembled the worshippers. In the words of this ancient sage, each man represents the gods as he himself is. I'm going to repeat that one more time and take that with you for the rest of your life, y'all. Each man represents the gods as he himself is. So be yourself. The Ethiopian as black and flat-nosed, the Treshin as red-haired and blue-eyed, and if horses and oxen could paint, they would no doubt depict the gods as horses and oxen. This being the case, when we find the great nations of the world, both past and present, worshiping black gods, then we logically conclude that these peoples are either members of the black race or that they originally received their religion in tutu or in part from black people. The proofs are abundant. The ancient gods of India are shown with Ethiopian crowns on their heads. According to the Old Testament, Moses first met Jehovah during his sojourn among the Midianites, who were an Ethiopian tribe. Oh, y'all didn't know that? Y'all didn't know Moses? He was dealing with Ethiopians too. But y'all think, because they was in Egypt and he's trying to free the Egyptians and they're Hebrews. Nah, they're Ethiopians. We learn from Hellenic tradition that Zeus, king of Grecian gods, so cherished the friendship of the Ethiopians that he traveled to their country twice a year to attend banquets. All the gods and goddesses of Greece were black. Okay? I'm going to go further down, and I'm going to end it right here with this. As far as this book goes. A study of the images of ancient deities of both the old and new worlds reveals their Ethiopic origin. This is noted by Kenneth R.H. Mackenzie in T.A. Buckley's Cities of the Ancient World, page 180. From the woolly texture of the hair, I am inclined to assign to the Buddha of India, the Fuhi of China, right? The Fuhi of China, the Samonacom of the Siamese, the Shaha of the Japanese, and the Quetzalcoatl of the Mexicans, the same and indeed an African or rather Nubian origin. Most of these black gods were regarded as crucified saviors who died to save mankind by being nailed to a cross or tied to a tree with arms outstretched as if on a cross or slain violently in some other manner. Now, here we go. Of these crucified saviors, the most prominent were Osiris and Horus of Egypt, Krishna of India, Mithra of Persia, and Quetzalcoatl of Mexico, Adonis of Babylonia, and Attis of Phrygia. Nearly all of these slain savior gods have the following stories related about them. They are born of a virgin on or near December 25th. Their births are heralded by a star. They are born either in a cave or stable. They are slain.
What book is that you're reading? All right. Can I take a picture of it?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I was just explaining what you were saying to somebody the other day.
Oh man, give him this book. You don't gotta explain nothing.
Yeah, like that's what I was like. They were like, whatever. I was like, no, man. And I heard you say it. I was like, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, you know what, man? It's synchronicity like that, man. I'm cool, by the way. Nice to meet
Tony,
you.
nice
Nice to meet you, man.
Right on.
Yeah, man. Good read. It's a great book. It's cheap too. $10 online.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. See how the magnetism works, man? It's magnetism, y'all. Check this out. So, here we go. Okay, yeah, I was naming the gods. So they all share similar stories, right? So it ain't just Jesus, y'all. Jesus ain't the only one. Yeah. They are slain commonly. They are born either in a cave or stable. They are slain commonly by crucifixion. They descend into hell and rise from the dead at the beginning of spring, which we call Easter, and finally ascend into the heaven. The parallels between the legendary lives of these pagan messiahs and the life of Jesus Christ as recorded in the Bible are so similar that progressive Bible scholars now admit that stories of these heathen Christs have been woven into the life story of Jesus. So the late Mr. Menard Shipley, president of the Science League of America, made a very scholarly study of the various mythologies and religions of the world. And in the concluding passage of a brilliant essay, Christian Doctrines in Pre-Christian America, he offers a profoundly thought-provoking statement. That the ancient pagan creeds, legends, and myths, part of the universal mythos, should be found embodied in the religion of the ancient Mexicans. And that all these again are found to be but the original sources of the modern Orthodox Christian religion is by no means inexplicable and need not be attributed to the subtlety of the ubiquitous devil. The explanation is that all religion and all languages of the civilized races of men had a common origin in an older seat of civilization. Where that original center of culture was is another story. The evidence seems to show that the original center of culture referred to by Mr. Shipley was that vast domain known to the classical geographers and historians as Ethiopia. A study of religious images throws much light on this early civilization. That tall T-shaped cross is thought by many Christians to be a unique emblem of their faith. The fact is that this cross is of ancient Ethiopian origin. In the words of an outstanding student of symbolism, the Ethiopic form of the Tau is an exact prototype of the conventional Christian cross. Or to state the fact in its chronological relation, the Christian cross is made in the exact image of the Ethiopian Tau. Okay? The cross was known to all the great ancient nations and was sometimes shown with the image of a man upon it. Okay, I don't need to go no further, y'all. That's too damn deep. That's too damn deep. So all religions come from the same source, Ethiopia. We're all Ethiopians. Everybody's an Ethiopian, and all religions are based on the same story. And the funny part is the core or the source of these or the source of the religions we know today as Orthodox Christianity comes from Mexico. Ain't that funny? Religions of ancient Mexico. So I think we need to give a little bit more respect to our Mexican brothers and sisters, y'all. They've been doing a great job at preserving our culture until we were to wake up and join them back in the family of humans, right? That was a lot, y'all. That was a lot. Yeah, I ain't done yet. I'm just vibing now. I'm just vibing now. We could just chill, give some feedback. But yeah, man. So there ain't no separation, man. We all the same people. I'm myself. You are you. If you my cousin, you are my cousin. I'm your cousin, and that's just it. I am me. You are you. Our religions come from the same source. Um, we're the same people. Whether you want to call us Egyptian, Arabic, Indian, Kemetic, Akkadian, Sumerian, whatever you want to call it. We're all talking about the same people. There's no difference. No difference. No difference at all. Oh. Ah. Hey, bro, I'll tell you what. You want a gift?
Oh, thanks a lot, man.
Take it, man.
All right.
You won't regret it, man.
Thank you.
More got a new book. Here you
All
go.
right.
Islam, bro. Cool meeting you, man. Yeah. Know what I'm saying? I done read that book a few times already, so I got all the wealth I need from it, man. But you know, the energy. He came over to you know what I'm saying, take a picture of it and everything. So that right there lets me know that Boys is out today. That right there lets me know he's in a good spot. Poor connection. I don't want poor connection. Let me walk the other way. Yeah, man, it's beautiful, dude. It's so fucking beautiful. Just look at this shit. Was out and about doing their thing.
Oh yeah.
Everybody just doing their thing. Oof. Anybody got any questions though? Any thoughts? Cause I mean, there really ain't much to say after that. Like, I mean, I think at this point we could lay down. We could cut down all the walls of division. They need. They no longer need. They no longer need to be existing. Real shit. We get rid of them. We could get rid of them. Let me see. Why am I getting poor connection now? Yo, y'all can still hear me clear? Is the connection poor? Is the connection poor? It's showing poor connection, but I don't believe it. I'm good. All right, it's lying to me. Trying to stop me from walking. The lies. But yeah, man, we all the same people. It's not hard, yo. Pick up a book. You know, I thought that too, and that's what I did when I first nationalized. When I first nationalized, I was Reginald Claudel Jules L. So yeah, you know, you can throw the Bay or the L at the end of it, but then, you know, a year hit, then 2 years, then 3 years of me being myself and continuing to study and grow. And and the more I started to study my heritage, you know what I realized? I realized that looking at my ancestors, I did not find not one ancestor named Reginald. I'm not talking about an enslaved ancestor. I'm talking about when I was doing my research on my free ancestors, my ancestors who were the masters of everything. None of them were named Reginald. None of them were named Reginald L, Reginald Bay, Reginald Claudel Jules A, Reginald Claudel Jules L, Reginald Claudel Jules Bay, Reginald Claudel Jules Day, Reginald Claudel Jules Al, Reginald Claudel Jules Ali. I ain't find none of them named having titles like that. So that was a clear cut indication for me that it's time for me to step up, be a little bit more authentic. That's that's what I got. That's what I took that as. So I went from Reginald Cordell Jules L to Kumare Sue L. And for those in my tribe, I have my holy of holy names. So you know what I'm saying? It's all about levels. There's levels to this thing, man. There's levels to the ish, man. You know what I'm saying? So you always gotta maintain your privacy. You always gotta have respect. This is the thing. When you have a title, and I was listening to shout out to Sir Duke Tears, man. I was listening to one of his old joints, man. And there's a difference between having a title of nobility and being a noble. Okay? We are nobles. We are nobles. So whether we have a title of nobility or not, we are nobles. However, if you are not exercising your title of nobility, then you can't exercise your noble powers. You know what I'm saying? At that point, if you're not in your noble status or in your noble habit, then you don't have you don't have no powers or nobility. So that's where the title comes into. Name you put power in your names. You know what I'm saying? So when I name myself, I'm showing not only to the world, but I'm showing to my God that I am of age. I am no longer a child. I am a man. I can see for myself. I can be myself. I can present myself. I don't need to try to be or recreate myself to be someone else. I can just be myself. See what I'm saying? So in me being myself, Kumari Suel, that is who I am. That is who I choose to project out to the world and to be received back. And like I said, and even amongst that, when you get in even deeper within, what I'm saying, your tribe or your community, your Jewish society, you have a true holy of holy names. That's not even spoken out. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we maintain our culture and our tradition and also our sciences. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we all do math. Don't mean we explain math the same way. So how we do math and how we're developing ways to do math, not only for us but for our children, is going to be different from other groups. You know what I'm saying? But not to stray from the point. You know, that's why I decided to go with Kumare Suel, because I felt more tied, more authentic, and more truthful. You know what I'm saying? To being who I am. Because, you got to render back to Caesar's what Caesar's. All of it. You got to give his whole shit back. His name, the way he thinks, the way he looks at things, his perspective, the way he deals with people, all that shit. Being angry all the time, not being at a state of peace, not having patience to be able to listen to people, explain, not feeling like, you always have to be in a debate. It's about just being able to receive, take in, digest, and then give out. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants good food. If I was to make some banging ass food and I was to just throw it on the plate and just like, just throw the plate on you at the table, would you want to eat that? It could be smelling great, but how I served you was improper. So just because the food's good doesn't guarantee someone's going to eat. You not only got to make the food, you got to serve the food properly, man. See, a lot of y'all good cooks, but not a lot of y'all good waiters and waitresses. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all not good at that. Y'all need to learn how to take the order, reflect it. You know what I'm saying? Now, boom. Now you're the cook. You're cooking it up because now you know what ingredients work for this person. What does this person like? Okay, boom. Now you make the food. Now you gotta make the food presentable so they can eat it. They know it sounds good. They know it's common sense. They know what you're saying is right, but you gotta present it in a certain way. So if you don't present it in a certain way, it's just gonna go over their head every time. So that's it. With that, of course, you can keep the European name, but like, and even so, we're not. This is not Europe. This is America. You see what I'm saying? So even at that point, I would agree with you to a certain extent, brother. If you was in Europe, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, keep the European name. Well, go ahead. You in Europe? You're already in that jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? Even if over here, if you're still in those 13 colonies, you're still in New England. So once again, you can keep those slave names and attach a L or Bay. I'm not judging no one or saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's really up to you. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You don't got to tell me too many times, let go of those things that delude to slavery. No, nobody got to tell me that shit too many times. Let go of the habits and the names that delude to slavery. Let go of it. Trust me, the name you come up for yourself is will be way more lit. Tell you, no one can name you better than you. Nobody can give you the name of your God except for you. So I'm just like, dude, I love the title my mom, and then listen, I'm not just being like shallow. Like, I actually did research on my shit. So when my mom and my dad named me Reginald, Reginald is an English name derives from the term Regis. That's where you get register from. Regis. So when you hear the term, hey, I'm going to register something. Another term for register is to file or record. You see where the county court comes into play? Okay, my shit about to die, so I'm about to let it go. But yeah, just on a just to be real quick, you know what I'm saying? So I forgot my train of thought with that. Anyway, fam, I love y'all. It's a beautiful day. Thank y'all for joining me. Um, Till next time, man. I'm gonna try to do this more often, especially now it's getting nice. You know what I'm saying? But as for that, I'm just gonna be out here riding out of my natural habit, just chilling out, enjoying some good old sun rays.